What's up, y'all? This is William Mustafa Artworks. So William Mustafa, I am the Imagineer on Instagram, and welcome to the first episode of the new season of 10,000 Hours. This season, I'm going to attempt to slow down and work more on the compositional elements of the way I do photography. If you guys have been following me for a while now, you'll see that I do different videos in different communities. And I like to capture what's going on in those communities at the time that I'm there. But today I'm going to take it a different direction. I'm going to show you guys how I create the compositions that I actually create, but without actually taking the picture. In this video, you'll see some images that I've captured out in the street, along with B-roll of actually how I compose these images. And if you notice, I am doing street photography, and people always wonder or question, hey, how do you get so close to the people that you shoot? There's a number of different ways, and in this season of 10,000 Hours, I'm going to go through some of those tips and tricks that will help you, if you're a street photographer, get closer to your subject. I believe Robert Capa, and I could be wrong, but he said, if your photos aren't good, get closer. And a part of the way I actually do my images is that I use a couple different lenses majority of the time when I'm in the streets. I like the 50mm 1.4. It's one of my favorite lenses because of the depth and separation that you get from your separation you get from your subject from the background. I really enjoy background separation. And in street photography, when you're creating separate layers out there in your compositions, it's always excellent to be able to separate those elements to add more of a dynamic composition. And you'll see that what I keep repeating in this video is dynamic compositions. That's what I consider my style. I like to create dynamic compositions that either one, tell a nice story, or two, the elements that take the random subjects that don't even know that they're being photographed, or capture them in situations that make them look like almost if they're actors in a stage play. And three, I'm really enjoying using long focal telephoto lenses. And it's not because I can't get close to my subject, it's because I really like to isolate my subject and make them the main focal point of the actual composition. So with that said, in this edition of 10,000 Hours, you will be seeing two lenses: the vintage Nikkor 135mm 2.8 pre-AI, adapted to my Sony a7 III, and another, just to show you guys I'm not afraid of getting close, the 24mm Carl Zeiss Jena 2.8 macro. This lens is great. It's wide. You can literally walk within a meter, 3 feet in the US, and take a picture of your subject, and they never know that you're taking a picture of them. Well, with that said, guys, let's get into this video.
If you've got any health in your body, I put it there. If you have life instead of death, it was I that gave it to you. If you have salvation, I brought it. So if I created the words, I can damn well use them.
Ain't gonna tear their ass up, simple as that.
Usually how I do my street photography, I drive to the area in which I have already kind of scoped out via online, or I have an interest in shooting. And I'll go to the furthest part of the city or town or area which I want to actually travel in, and I'll park on the outskirts of the city. And then I'll walk my way to the center of the city, take a couple test shots, and I get used to the lens that I'm using, because I don't use the same lens every time that I shoot. I have an issue with creating work that makes me stagnant, and by changing up on my focal lengths, it allows me to keep my brain and my compositional skills sharp, because I'm always thinking, I'm always changing, I'm always adapting to create the image that I want to create. The thing that I like about Bologna, Italy, is the fact that they have these covered sidewalks, and with the 135 I wanted to actually use it to create some depth and create a dynamic composition with the covered sidewalks. The interesting thing though, today it started raining. So blessing that I actually was in Bologna because I didn't get wet because of the covered sidewalks. I was able to capture some images with people in some interesting situations, I think. In street photography, there's a lot of different techniques that people use to get close to their subjects. Me, I use a plethora of different ways to actually capture people without them actually knowing. But for the most part, I like Bruce Gilden in the way that he just doesn't give a fuck. But Bruce Gilden is a guy who does street photography, and he goes out into the street with a flash and he doesn't care. He snaps the flash right in people's faces, which is nuts to me. I realize that most people won't say anything to you, and if they usually do, you walk off or you apologize or you engage in conversation. Either one. No one's going to kill you or do anything super aggressive to you. There was this moment, right, where I really saw a composition in my head, the Neptune fountain. I think that's what they call it. I didn't want to take a touristy photo. When you go into places that are traveled by a lot of different people, people tend to take photos of the same thing. So how can you create something that's dynamic enough that not everyone has seen it? So the Neptune photo is on Google, it's everywhere. Of course you can probably find this image, but I wanted to create something that people have not seen yet. So I camped out, and they call this technique the fisherman technique, where you'll go to a pond, an area, and you'll sit and you'll cast out your fishing line, you'll create your composition, and you'll wait for a fish to come by, a subject, and you'll get it, fisherman. That's not what I do. I find that not exciting. So many things are happening in our day. The world is so dynamic that I like to travel around and catch different things that are happening in different areas. That's just me. But I'm more of a hunter-gatherer type of guy. I like to travel around and hunt and gather and find different compositions that I actually want to create instead of actually sitting in one damn spot all day and not getting anything done. But since it started raining, I figured I'd stay at this one area, and I was trying to get this picture of the Neptune fountain. Now, I really was never able to get this composition that I wanted because people kept walking in and out and in my composition, but I was able to get one that I liked, I guess. My street photography is about telling stories and creating dynamic compositions. And if I can't do that, and if I can't take an image that no one has never seen before, for the most part, I just won't take it. Ironically though, when I turned directly to the left, there was another composition that I never even sought out on. There was a man who some may call homeless or a street dweller. I don't know what you want to call these individuals, but he was out and he was under the portico or under the sidewalk, and he was doing all these odd motions and stretches and stuff. I don't know what he was going through. Maybe he was on drugs, or maybe he just wanted to keep himself limber. But a family walked right next to him, and the little girl kept looking at him. Now I had the 135 on, so I wanted to create depth between the individual and the background, which was about 300-400 meters from the actual place the man was looking. So because I had the 135 on, I was able to create a dynamic composition, like I said before, compression to make that background look closer but as large as it actually was. But I couldn't get particular composition because the 135 was on, and the 135, if you guys know, is a telephoto lens. It's not a wide angle lens, so I decided to do something a little bit different. I took 3 separate pictures of the area which he was in to create a 3-image panoramic stitch with the 135. I wasn't able to get the actual composition that I really wanted, but I did settle on something that I did like, I guess. Sometimes I think it's interesting that you go to a place to create one image and you end up with another. With street photography, when I go out, I take only the images that I like. I don't just spray and pray. I shoot to kill. If I can't get the image in one shot, I leave it. So my street photography philosophy is if I can go out and get 1 to 5 images that I actually accept and like in an outing, I'm cool with that. I don't take many shots, so with getting 1 to 5 images in a street photography outing within 3-4 hours, I'm happy with that. It's something that I can put into my portfolio bag, put into my print bag, and give it back out to the community, and I hope you guys accept it and like it.
She would be good too to shoot here, see? To shoot inside the building. This is hurting me not taking these pictures, y'all.
So after I found a couple images, I was pretty cool with that. I took a second to have a seat.
All right, so that's pretty much a wrap for the day. I'm gonna sit back real quick and have me a glass of wine. Sorry, I couldn't tell you how today went.
What other best thing to take a break and have me a nice glass of red wine? I want to show you exactly how I compose and set up my shots. And in doing so, I wanted you to realize something also in street photography. People really won't mind you. In today's technology, you have to realize that CCT cameras are everywhere. People are taking Instagram selfies everywhere. Facial recognition software is everywhere, especially in Europe. I make myself invisible, but for the most part, I don't invade anybody's space.
All right, folks, I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed shooting today in the street. The thing about street photography is that when you go out, you never actually know exactly what you're going to get. It's always a game of cat and mouse. Cat and mouse meaning you being the cat and the compositions being the mouse. People have said, like, this dog here is excellent. Look, it's always a game of cat and mouse, searching for the compositions, and a lot of people have commented on the fact that they like my compositions, and I appreciate that because I really take the time to really compose, to think about the captures.
So, with that said, guys, I hope you guys like the street photography video. I'm going to try to slow down and show you guys some more constructed content. I've been doing this for 3-4 years consistently now, street photography, and making videos now about the way I capture images via vlog style last 5 to 6 years. So I figure if I'm going to deliver this content to you, I'm going to try to clean it up a little bit.
So practically anybody and everybody can take a picture.
And if you guys like what you've seen and you want to see more, please hit that like and that follow button and that subscribe button if you're watching this on YouTube.
But taking a picture is different than creating a photograph.
And hopefully I'll be able to keep you guys tuned in.
Share to any photography groups if you're a photographer and you like exactly what I did and someone can actually gain from what I actually just showed you guys.
That said, this is William Mustafa, Artworks of William Mustafa. I am the Imagineer on Instagram, and I'll holla at y'all later. Deuces.